Miyazaki has a very kinky thing for feet and katanas. But I think we were all familiar with that by now, right? You may remember Rakshasa's great katana from such films as this Sane Trina short and the patch 1.13 update where we briefly talked about the buff to its Ash of War called Weed Cutter. Talking to Stilovsky about a video we're planning on making, Rakshasa's great katana came up as currently one of the best weapons in the game. And after performing some testing, we can safely say that, yeah, it's absolutely nuts.
But Ranni, why is it nuts?
Wow, glad you asked.
Rakshasa's great katana is a new DLC weapon obtained after teaching Rakshasa who's the one true weeb in the land of shadows. Okina's little used tampon ain't got nothing on this girthy long pleasure toy. It is nearly in its entirety a dexterity weapon, as when maxed it has a B scaling in dexterity. It boasts similar moves to the rest of the great katanas in the game, except for its infinitely more practical heavy attack. Part of its practicality comes from being a poke-type attack and also being able to roll catch with ease after a running attack. However, this is not why the weapon is great. The real reason behind the weapon's status as an absolute tumour is its special hyper armour.
Hey.
Struggler VA made an interesting video about hyper armor values. In case you haven't seen it, the gist is that certain weapon types give a certain amount of hyper armor that correlates with their corresponding class. Naturally, weapons with higher poise damage will have greater values of hyper armor to compensate for their comparatively slow swings. Best example of this being colossal weapons and colossal swords, which both boast the higher hyper armor and poise damage in the game. However, in the case of Rakshasa's great katana, a very funny thing occurs. Contrary to what you may think despite their name, great katanas do not possess hyper armor on their hits. The power of great katanas resides in being a super high damage weapon class that keeps priority 100% of the time on their hits, with insane reach and quick enough attacks hugely helping in this regard. The other two weapons in the class are pretty balanced as they are, with the regular great katana being the best of the two. However, when introducing hyper armor to a weapon class that is already extremely powerful, bad things happen. Rakshasa's insane scaling, combined with the fact that it has the same hyper armor as great axes, make it so that this weapon hardly loses any trade, and hyper armor trading in PvP is extremely powerful because it fundamentally negates gameplay for a very large group of weapons, specifically the faster ones with less poise damage. Rakshasa users simply need to stand their ground and wait for an opportunity to simply go in and seize priority until they run out of stamina. And don't dare to get hit because you're looking at nearly half of your health bar gone. And if the pressure this thing puts on you wasn't already the equivalent of a Redditor sitting on top of you, the bleed buildup will most likely finish the job of making you shit your pants.
Oh, I've been impaled.
If insane hyper armor on a weapon that should not have it doesn't sound insane enough, what if I told you that one-handing it provides the same hyper armor as two-handing it? And this works even when you're using the weapon in your left hand, giving place to many types of builds and combos that pretty much exploit Rakshasa's insane properties. Although if you ask me, the two-handed moveset is much better and can exploit the power of the two-handed talisman to its fullest. But one of the things that make the weapon absolutely ridiculous is its Ash of War, called Weed Cutter.
Fuck this. Watch this.
It deals 2 horizontal slashes with forward momentum that deal a big chunk of damage and can be chained into itself until you either run out of stamina or FP. The biggest selling point of this monkey slashing is its absurd hyper armor, capable of tanking colossal swords and winning the trade at the same time. Of course, there are ways to fight the thing, like using Endure with Starfists, or using a colossal weapon, or keep mashing with high hyper armor like curved greatswords while you're trading with the guy to stun the enemy out of it. Still, even if it has counters, the attack is so stupidly good that sometimes simply mashing it against people can easily pull off the win. And thanks to the forward momentum, it has very good roll catch potential for low latency matches.
But hold on, Ranni. Doesn't this katana have a debuff that lowers your resistances when you equip it? Wouldn't that make it balanced?
While it is true that Rakshasa's Great Katana gives you a resistance debuff, this only applies when you're actually swinging your weapon, not when you're standing still. This kind of defeats the purpose because when you swing your weapon, you gain hyper armor, which gives you additional defenses. So when the game makes the calculation for how much extra damage you will receive, this amounts to a measly 2% resistance reduction. Which is an absolute joke. And that's not even taking into account defensive buffs like the Opaline Cracked Tear or Boiled Crab, which will completely negate the resistance debuff. This weapon is absolutely insane. Super strong, piss easy to use, and very hard to counter if a competent player is using it.
And of course, here comes the moment in the video when we teach you how to turn the katana she tells you not to worry about into an absolute gooner-slapping machine. First of all, this is a dexterity weapon, so a dexterity-focused inventory is the best choice. We're aiming for level 150 Vagabond with 60 Vigor, 43 Endurance, 24 Strength, 65 Dexterity, and 12 Faith. The 43 Endurance points will allow you to use this complete inventory without the need of the Great Jar Arsenal to increase your weight load, leaving you space for 3 offensive talismans. These are the Two-Handed Sword Talisman, the Lacerating Cross Tree, and the Spear Talisman. These 3 little good boys have amazing synergy with Rakshasa's entire kit, amplifying damage on your overall moveset. The Bull Goat Talisman will help you tank as many weapons as possible and will increase the things you can poise through with Weed Cutter. This particular combination of armor works perfectly with this inventory, as switching between your usual loadout of weapons won't cause a fat roll, unless you make weird combinations in your slots. As for the gameplay, it's very simple. Simply focus on trades and chase downs, as the katana will usually win them effortlessly. With all of this knowledge, you can now become the ultimate weeb. I still think you would find my hand much more fun to play with, though.
But you know what's even better than Lady Melania's body parts? Mystery thingy. Sorry, it's been a while. I was on vacation in Bariloche. Pretty nice chocolate they have there. The mystery thingy of our last video was the beast claws. So congrats to the little chocolate bunnies who answered correctly. Here's our new mystery thingy for today, so comment down below which one you think it is. And as always, thanks for watching, little Chevrolets. Bye.